busy schedule. Actually, when we talk about branding, when we studied branding, it was just a Kotler, and sorry, he talked about brand being something that is a name, symbol, maybe a term, a logo, and a combination of these to distinguish one product from that of the competitors. That's how it was. But the way things have been changing in advertising and the way they have changed, marketing today is undergoing rapid transformation, and brands are facing multiple interconnected challenges. Consumers are bombarded with contents across platforms. It's not just what we earlier had. So there are multiple platforms on which they're bombarded with. Attention spans are shrinking, harder to break through the noise with meaningful messaging. One of the most important things that resonates, as you rightly said, that the brands must resonate. So that important thing is to ensure that there is a meaningful messaging that takes place. And many brands are identical, particularly in case of the products which fall in a particular price bracket. Most of the brands functionally are similar. And emotional storytelling is declining, and it's harder to stand out in the crowded markets. Now, this is over 40 years that we have seen, and one person who has been watching this and has been contributing very significantly to that is Ambi. So many thanks, Ambi, for joining us once again this afternoon. Now, to begin with, we will be discussing about the marketing mixology. So, how do you define marketing mixology, and why is it especially relevant in today's multi-channel world?
Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Professor Ashutosh. Thank you,
You can
Mrinal.
only call me Ashutosh. In front of
Okay,
your
so
stature, I think you calling me
thank you.
professor.
Thank you, Ashutosh, and Mrinal for inviting me here to this Orange City Literature Festival. The first time I am in this festival. It's pretty amazing that in a city like, you know, uh, Nagpur, you got what 5 or 6 parallel tracks running for 2 days. It's quite an achievement. So congratulations on that. Thank you for inviting me. Uh, so let me give you a little bit of background on why this book is called Marketing Mixology and what's mixology got to do with marketing. 5-6 years ago, I was asked by Amazon as a part of their Prime Day to write an exclusive piece on something. So I wrote a piece on negotiation, which they published on Kindle platform, and it was available free for all the Kindle Unlimited subscribers. So it actually did very well. It topped the Kindle charts for a few months. The next year, again, they called me and they said they want another piece. I wrote another piece, this time on brand building. It also did well. But the deal with Amazon was after 1 year, the rights of these two long articles, about 10,000 word articles, come back to me. So they came back to me. So I had two 10,000 word articles. That's when my publisher, Westland, Harit's publisher as well, and my agent, Anish Chandy, called and said, "Yaar, Ambi, you got 2 pieces, why don't you write 2 more? And we'll put it together as a book." So I kind of, did some digging and wrote 2 more pieces. I wrote one on consumer understanding and one on communication. So I had 4 pieces. I said, now job is done. Abhi paper book publish karo. Ho gaya, 4 ho gaya, publish karo. Then one character called Arodeep came into the picture, who was an editor of the thing. So he read everything, said, "Yeah, these look disjointed. You have to write it like one book." So I had to rewrite all the 4. So finally the 4 got written and it kind of fell into place. But in my mind, I said, look, this is a very different kind of a book because no marketing book you will ever pick up will have a chapter on negotiation. Right? And we talked
That's
about
right.
the
Yes.
personal selling skills and all
Correct,
that. Doesn't have that. Similarly, no marketing book will have inputs on communication, which is how do you talk, how do you present, how do you do written communication. So I said, ये थोड़ा what they say in Hindi movie film ना, तो हटके ये book थोड़ा हटके type का marketing book है. So I wanted a हटके type का title. So the title which was in my head was Marketing Masala Mix. And the cover design was that of a masala box, Badshah masala box. Right? But my publisher said, no, it is too gimmicky. This is not a good title for someone like you to have. So I said, kya kare? So I said, no. They said, no, we'll call it Get Set Market. So I said, yeah, Get Set Market बहुत boring है as a title. कुछ अलग सोचना चाहिए. So what do you do when you're stuck for ideas today? ChatGPT, right? So I went to ChatGPT a year and a half ago. I went to ChatGPT, started asking for, gave a prompt, started asking for interesting titles. I said it should be like masala mix, but I don't want masala mix. So I got about 20, got 20 more, got 20 more. And somewhere in that 200 titles, I spotted the word mixology. This word, right? So I said, yeah, this is the word I was looking for. So the book is called Marketing Mixology, 4 Essential Ingredients for Marketing Success. And my publisher said, yeah, this works. And my agent, Anish Shandy, said, yeah, this works. And then I got actually ChatGPT to design a cover with 4 bottles, 1 bottle labeled branding, 1 bottle labeled communication, 1 bottle labeled negotiation, 1 bottle labeled communication. And that design was given to the designer, cover designer, Saurabh Garge, who finally did this wonderful design. Right? So in a sense, this book owes its title, only its title. I mean, I've been asked this question in some other forum saying, यार पूरा तुमने ChatGPT मारा है, नहीं मारा है. इसमें कुछ नहीं है. ChatGPT में, I didn't pick up anything from ChatGPT. But if you go and ask ChatGPT about this book today, you will get a lot of stuff. Because some people have uploaded this book on ChatGPT. So if you want to save, $250, you can ask ChatGPT, give me a download of Ambi's Marketing Mixology. It will give you a good summary. Say there are 4 chapters. I want 1,000 words, version of each of the chapters. It will give you a decent sum. I've checked it. The quality is quite good. But this book has been written because I know young people here, when they see the Kotler book, how many of you heard of someone called Kotler? Suna hai na? Who is he? He is a guru, marketing guru. The marketing management book likha hai, right? Which is about 400 pages. You've seen the book? No? Okay. So I know of marketing students who get the book from their MBA schools, but who don't even open it. So normally, Harit is laughing. We used to ask this question to MBA students who come to interview during my FC Viulka days. I'll keep talking. You stop me whenever you're
Yes.
getting irritated. So you used to ask, you want a job in advertising? Yeah. Have you read marketing? Yeah. Kotler padha hai? Haan, I've read. Yes, sir, I've read Kotler. Okay. Tell me, which is the favorite chapter in Kotler? I don't know, sir. Sir, I don't know. I know, sir. Yeah. So have you opened chapter Kotler and looked at it? I opened chapter. You've read? I read. Tell me which university Philip Kotler used to teach. No, sir. I don't know. So this book is an antidote to Kotler. So if you think Kotler is too difficult to read, this book will give you a micro capsule of what is there in Kotler. Of course, it's not the Kotler League. Kotler's book is legendary, used across the world. But in today's generation, which is, living on Instagram, living on 10-second reels, right? This is a book ideal for them. If you're going to appear for a marketing interview, for a sales interview, how many of you want to chase a career in marketing and sales here? Any of you interested in marketing and sales here? ऐसा ही बैठा है इधर. कोई तो होगा ना. ये बच्चे लोग क्या करने वाले? What are you guys going to do? कुछ plan है? है क्या? Consulting?
Most of them would probably prefer to have an air-conditioned room with the secretary sitting outside, attending to most of the things. And for them, probably marketing is something like going to door to sell a product. And that's not exactly what is expected in marketing.
That's not marketing. That's not
marketing.
Yeah. So any of you thinking of a career in marketing, you want to prepare for an interview in marketing, I think this book will give you enough to get past the interview at least, because most people who interview will be HR executive. HR executive will know less than what is in the book, so you're okay, right? So that's the target audience for this book: young people who find Kotler very scary to read. And mind you, I write textbooks. In fact, one of my books is a book called Strategic Brand Management, which I've co-authored with Professor Kevin Lane Keller. It's a very heavy book. But again, I think today's youngsters, I'm not talking only you, I'm talking uh, even in big business schools, they don't read enough. And that's a challenge we face. I mean, you face,
Yeah,
right? I
we
mean, students are not willing to read those 25-page case studies. So it's a struggle we are having. So if you think this book contains a lot of booze recipes, you'll be sadly mistaken. There is no booze inside this book. There are only bottles here. There's no liquor recipe, no recipe how to make a Manhattan or a Bloody Mary or a. What's your favorite drink, yaar? Bottle wala. What's your favorite drink? You don't drink? Oh my God. Okay.
No.
Water. Water rakha hai. He's got water.
I mean, when he said drink, you don't have to talk about alcoholic drinks only.
it's
There
plenty
are
of
other
water.
non-alcoholic beverages as well.
Is it wrong to drink? पुराने इतिहास में लोग पीते थे ना, सोमरस तो पीते थे, सब लोग पीते थे. Religiously it was allowed. So don't worry. I mean, it's nothing. It's not wrong. So
Right.
there are no liquor recipes in the book. Mixology is an interesting term. It's beyond bartender. All of us know bartenders. Mixologists are not bartenders. They do a lot more. They actually, before they make a drink, they talk to the customer and they find out what mood the customer is in. And they create a drink for that customer for that day. Right? And that's how a mixologist is different from a bartender. Anyway, back to you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely precise. Mostly what we are being thought about marketing is that it is to sell a product. But it's not necessarily so. What you are looking at is alternative or altering the behavior of the people you are interacting with. So marketing is not only about selling. It goes much beyond that. So whether you are in HR, whether you are in finance, you still need to market some of your concepts. So please do not under the impression that marketing is only for selling and you have to sell something. Contrary to that, if you have just listened carefully to Ambi, what he said is that most of the things are available on ChatGPT, and you may not spend 250, 300 bucks. So I don't know whether he was demarketing a product, but not exactly. The nuances of marketing are much, much more important in the book. And that's the reason you should read it. ChatGPT won't be telling you about the nuances that the book has. Having said that, how does the brand decide the right mix when consumer journey is becoming increasingly non-linear? Because earlier we have seen that there was a linear behavior on part of the consumers, but now it is non-linear.
So the classical, and the first chapter is on consumer behavior. The classical consumer behavior, how do you decide to go and buy something? Right? How do you decide to go and buy a jacket? Or how do you decide to go and buy a pen? Or how do you decide to go and buy a car or a refrigerator or washing machine? What happens first? So in the classical consumer behavior model, what happens first is you recognize a need. Right? Your car is conking out. So you say, "Arey yaar, gaadi kharab hai. So I need to buy a new car." After you decide that, then what do? You search for options. So this car is conked out. So which car should I buy? So you search for alternatives to look at. After you search for those alternatives, then you maybe visit the showroom, figure out, what is good about it, read the reviews, and then you decide and shortlist a car and buy a car. Right? This was simple, right? This was a very linear model. When I launched for Tata Motors, we launched Indica. Then later we launched Indigo. It was very clear. What was the job of advertising then? It was clearly TV print was main media. Only job of advertising was to get customer into the showroom for a test drive. So we even had a formula. 50% of the test drive will convert to sale. If a customer came and took a test drive, 50% chance he will buy the car. This was 98, 99, 2000. But today, the customer is spoiled for choice and he's spoiled for information. So when my media colleagues are working on Nano, they discovered in the case of Indica and Indigo, it was 50%, whereas in the case of Nano, it was not even 1%. So you give 100 test drives, you sell one car. Right? And today, I don't know how it is. So today, if someone thinking of buying an Alto, what does he do first? He goes, takes a test drive of Audi. Then he takes test drive of BMW. Then he takes test drive of Creta. Then he goes home, looks at the net, looks for option, looks for review. Then he says, "Kam se kam MG to dekhte hain." He goes and looks at MG, right? Then finally he may go and buy a, I don't know, maybe Punch, Tata Punch, which is a nice car, right? But the journey has become very complicated. At any point of time, the consumer can get an email from someone, can see a review, and he can change his track. Which is why today marketers have to first understand what is the consumer decision journey. And it is complex. Where all do they go? Do they go to Team BHP? How many of you heard of Team BHP? Right? Team BHP, what does it do? Car review, right? It's number one car review site. Right? So someone buying a car may take 2 test drives, go to Team BHP and say, no, I need to buy a different car. Right? So consumer's journey is changing. And so if you're in marketing, you need to track what is the consumer's journey, where all can I engage with him. Right? So which is why we bought a Tata Tigor last year, sorry. So Tata Tigor, right?
Yeah.
The sedan, small sedan. So I'm a Tata loyalist, so I was very keen that ek gaadi ghar pe to Tata hona chahiye, but my wife was not too particular, so we went and took a test drive of Honda Amaze and Tata Tigor. Right? Honda Amaze and Tata Tigor fits under the so-called, the stilt parking which was there in the house. So we took those 2 test drives. What was interesting was, when we walked into Honda showroom, we took a test drive. The guy gave a test drive. We liked the car. We said thank you and we left. When we walked into Tata Motors, what did that girl ask? When we walked in, we want to look at Tigor. We want to take a test drive. What was asked? No? What do you think was asked? What? पानी देते हैं, या ये पानी मिला. But they asked something else. Before they gave the test drive, they asked us for something. No? What data? What data? What data? What data? What data? What data? Huh? Okay, guess again. What else? What data? Correct. They asked us for something, and I'll try and come to your question after that. Where do I work? Okay, no. Expectation? और बताओ. Okay, what else? एक information पूछा. नहीं, आप लोग सब गलत रास्ते पे जा रहे हैं. एक क्वेश्चन पूछा. हाँ? No, they didn't ask that. Yeah. क्या पूछा? And I'm coming to your question because I'm getting the audience thinking. The question they asked us was, sir, you want a test drive of Tigor? Yeah. Can I have your mobile number? Right? So they got my mobile number. Honda did not. So once they had my mobile number, they knew me. Using that mobile number, they can track me. right? That is what is today's marketing, right? Once they know my mobile number, they can call me, they can send me a WhatsApp message, right? They can even track me on the net if required. So this is the new world of marketing, which is called MarkStat. I mean, Mr. Harit Nagpal here is a head of a very large Tata company. This is what they call MarkStat. They track consumers at every step, right? And I was actually quite impressed. I mean, I thought Honda will be better than Tata in this, but Honda, they gave me a test drive, they gave me leaflet, they gave me, like you said, pani wani diya. They didn't take my number. So if I'd refused to give my number, Tata may not have given me the test drive, which is fine. If I'm not willing to give the number, then I'm not a very serious customer. I'm that same, Alto customer taking test drive at Audi. Right? So again, we can mistake a customer. Again, another story about a customer. I mean, I had a friend of mine who was working with Coke, and they had an office in Gurgaon, and on the ground floor they had an Audi showroom. And the customer who comes in there, one day they got a customer, very senior looking gentleman wearing a dhoti and a pajama, who came and said in Punjabi, "5 कंगी वाला गाड़ी चाहिए." वो क्या बोलते हैं यार? हाँ? हाँ, 4 चूड़ी वाला गाड़ी, यही है ना? हाँ, को चाहिए, टेस्ट ड्राइव चाहिए. So the dealer said, "Sir, it doesn't look like a guy who can buy it ना, पजामा पहन के आया है, कुर्ता." "Sir, टेस्ट ड्राइव का गाड़ी अभी नहीं है सर, बाहर गया है, हम वेट करेंगे." तो इसे बहुत टाइम लगेगा सर, पूरा दिन वेट करेंगे. सर आज मिलने का डाउट है, नहीं मिलेगा. सर कैसे? नहीं, हम वेट करेंगे. तो फाइनली दिस डीलर सेड, "नो सर, नहीं होगा." तो फाइनली दिस गाय पुल्ड आउट सम 6 wads ऑफ नोट फ्रॉम हिज पॉकेट, पुट इट ऑन द टेबल, से चलो अभी दिखाओ गाड़ी. The lesson is, a lot of these farmers in that area have sold land and they have crores of rupees. So if you look at a customer, you can't make out how rich or how poor he is, right? So you have to train your frontline salespeople that don't judge the customer by the dress he or she is wearing. So today's marketing journey is very complex. Yes. And we as marketers have to figure out how does the customer go about, taking his journey, and how can we engage with him at different steps. If we don't, like Honda, we will lose the customer. I believe if Honda had got my mobile number and called my wife 2-3 times, we might have bought a Honda Amaze. Because I think Honda Amaze is a damn good car. Right? But we ended up buying Tata Tigor because, one, I was pushing for Tata, and two, Honda did not chase. If Honda just chased, sir, आप आगे तो आगे बैठिए. हरित भी है, हरित के साथ बैठिए आप. हरित, देवाशीष.
You met.
So, yeah, you're asking questions? Yeah.
We will have questions. Just a couple of minutes.
He wants to ask a follow-up question.
Okay, follow-up question.
Huh? Tata sells a lot more.
Tata sells more.
Tata sells.
Tata sells
I
more.
worked on the Tata brand for many years. We launched Tata Indica, Indigo, multiple cars.
And that comes from a person who is very authentic with respect to that. So Harit is working with Tata Play.
He works for the Tata Group.
Yes.
But I don't work for the Tata Group anymore. But
yes.
But Tata, at one time, Tata had achieved a market share of 17%, but it dropped. It actually dropped to about 7%.
Yes.
Because Nano didn't take off. Right? Nano caused a lot of disruption. But after COVID, Sailesh Chandra took over as CEO of Tata Motors passenger vehicles, took a contrarian bet. He said, COVID will be over, people will want cars. So when all other car companies were reducing capacity, he expanded, he started making, today they are the largest selling electric car maker in India. And amazingly well they've done. So they're doing well, they're much bigger than Honda. But thinking in Bombay, you think, yaar, Honda, Tata to Tata hai. But नहीं है. Tata भी ठीक करता है. Okay.
Yes. So actually, it is the deep consumer insight that plays a very important role in blending the right marketing mix today. Now, having said that, as we earlier also discussed, that there are multiple channels which are there now. Now, how do you integrate these digital and traditional media without marketing getting into the complex inconsistencies? Because there are a lot of complex inconsistencies. So, how do you integrate digital and traditional media without making the mix too complex or inconsistent?
See, whether we like it or not, today it is very complex. Life is very complex. When I started my career in advertising in 1979, it was very easy. You do one TV ad. Oh, sorry, those time no TV. You do a cinema ad, and the ad runs for a few years, right? Then in '94, TV became very big. So you make one TV ad, you run it for a full year. Today, I think people like Harit are making one ad every 2 days, right? So you're making multiple messages today. You may be doing something for YouTube, something for Insta, something for Facebook, right? And you're creating hundreds of messages today. The problem is there has to be some consistency. If you don't have that consistency, you'll have a disaster in your hands. How many of you are aware of the controversy around Bombay Shaving Company running a full page ad? Right? What happened? नहीं रे नहीं 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 गलत है so they had an ad where one of the girls who had topped the UPSC had some little facial hair अभी याद है and they ran an ad saying that don't worry what her name we have got product for you and blah blah blah. It's very badly done, right? Obviously someone in the company had approved it. It had gone out, right? So that is newspaper. I mean, today that can happen with every post in Instagram. I mean, some companies are doing 5 Instagram posts every day, right? And tomorrow with AI, you may be doing 1,000 Instagram posts every day, because with AI, I can customize it to you. I can customize it. I know that you're here. You're in this, Orange City Literature Festival. I can send you a message asking you to buy a particular book, right? Because I know you're here, right? Like this, I can send a message to someone else, who's taking a walk outside. It's a different message. Today, AI can create 1,000 messages. So this is the world of AI. World is getting very complicated, but world is also getting very exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, what we see is that multi-channels, they are creating problems, but you still have to address too. Before I leave it open to the audience, my final question is, how should brands adapt their mix for diverse cultural and linguistic landscape of India?
Oh, I think we've always done that quite well. Good old days advertising has always had a system of doing culture-specific ads. At one time it was just you used to just translate the ad. There used to be what is called the language department, which was in business of translating ads into 14 languages. In fact, multinational agencies, when they acquired Indian agencies, suddenly discovered you're making ads in 14 languages, right? You're used to making ads in one language. So Dorab Sapariwala was an advisor to us for many years, used to say that India is not one country. India is one continent. It's one continent which has multiple countries inside. Each country has its own language, its own culture. So Rama Bijapurkar says that in a book, saying there is more things common between a Muslim in Madurai and a Hindu in Madurai than a Muslim in Madurai and a Muslim in Lucknow. Right? So there's, our country actually changes every 100 kilometers, it changes. Language changes, everything changes. So we've done in the past language adaptation, and when the celebrity madness started, we started doing celebrity adaptation also. So you run an ad in North India with, Saif Ali Khan. In South India, you run it with Mahesh Babu. And in Tamil Nadu, you run it with Vijay. In Kerala, you run something with Mamuka. Who's Mamuka? Who's Mamuka? Hurry up. Who's Mamuka? Sir, they don't know who's Mamuka.
Now that's the diversity that
he's
we
a, he's
have.
a director of I am
Kozhikode.
Kozhikode, so I will not let him answer that question. In Kerala, there are two gods of cinema. Mamuka, also known as Mammootty, and Lal, also known as Mohanlal. Right? These are two gods. So, so you use Mamuka in Kerala, you use Mahesh Babu in Andhra, you use Vijay in Tamil Nadu, you use Shah Rukh Khan for North India. We've done that. But today with AI, we're going to be making ads in 100 different languages. You can make ads in Bhojpuri, Brij Bhasha, you can make ads in all the languages. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great fun.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the nuances that you do not get to learn through the textbook, or these are the nuances that you do not get to learn through ChatGPT or other generative AI. For that, you need to interact with somebody who has done it and done it over 40 years and done it successfully. And that is what Ambi has really brought up here. We will have a couple of questions from the audience in the event. If audience, anybody has a question, please do raise your hand so that we can come to you. Anybody has a question? Okay, a lady here.
Can you give us some context with respect to negotiation that you said, a chapter on negotiation that you have in the marketing mixology book? So, how do we connect marketing with negotiation?
See, in marketing, negotiation is not something which is out there. We are negotiating all the time. You're a little kid. You have any children, right? How old is 11? So he's going to negotiate with you. Think, are you going to buy 2 toys and 1 chocolate, or 1 chocolate and 1 book? So life is full of negotiation. So in marketing, again, you're negotiating. You're negotiating with your vendor when you're buying packaging material. You're negotiating internally with your colleagues. You're negotiating with your CFO when you want money. So negotiation chapter has one interesting story. I'll tell that story because it's a fun story. How many of you heard of this person called Theodore Roosevelt? Theodore Roosevelt. Who's he? He was the US president, whatever, right? He was the 18th or 20th US president. So he was standing for presidency, and his campaign manager found a nice photograph, and he used it and he printed some 3 million leaflets which is photographed. After the leaflet was printed, someone went and told the campaign manager, you've used the photograph. Do you know who's the photographer? Have you got it cleared by the photographer? Have you paid him any royalty? So the campaign manager, being a political campaign manager, had not done all that. So he said, now you have to figure out what to do. So one option was to scrap all the posters and leaflets and print new ones, which would have cost him $1 million, right? Or to go and tell the photographer, we've used the photograph, how much should we pay you? So if the photographer knows you've used it, he's going to ask for whatever, $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. So this political, campaign manager was a smart campaign manager. So he had what is called information asymmetry. He knew the poster had been printed, but the photographer did not know. So he sent a telegram to the photographer to saying, great opportunity to publicize your work. President Theodore Roosevelt campaign needs to use your photograph. How much will you pay for us to use your photograph? So poor photographer did not know 1 million leaflets have already been printed. So he said, I'll pay $250. Is it okay? So the campaign manager ended up getting $250. Right? So this is the power of negotiation. So where you have information asymmetry. Now, every situation is a negotiation. Now I'm negotiating with him, right, to hold the mic. Right? So everything is a negotiation. You need to understand, where is he coming from? Where am I coming from? How can I figure out a win-win situation? Right? So if you have a son and a daughter Both of them want to eat pizza. How do you make sure they don't fight over who gets a bigger piece? How do you do that? Simple. It's an old solution. Simple. Make one person cut the pizza and the other person gets a choice of the first piece. Okay? Fair?
That's right.
First person cut the pizza, second person says, I'll pick whichever I want. Right?
Yes.
What's a better solution would be to find out what does the first child like, what does the second child like. It's quite possible the first child likes the outer portion of the pizza and the second child likes the inner portion of the pizza. You can cut the pizza differently and both will be happier. Right? So that's the power of negotiation. So I hope I've answered your question. Yeah. Thank you.
One of the most important things of negotiations is the win-win situation that has to be there for both the parties. That's one of the keys for successful negotiation. Win-win situation for both of them. We're completely running out of time, so it will be very difficult for us to take another question. Many thanks, Ambi, once again for being part of OCLF. And I'm thankful to OCLF for giving me opportunity to interact with Ambi one more time.
Thank you.
Last time when we discussed it online. But during the
My
COVID
neighbor
period,
from Chennai and his
yes.
wife, both are here. Hi, Mandar.
Thank you very much, audience, as well, for being here and being part of OCLF as well. So, as a token of appreciation, we have something for you.
It's a small glimpse of the day that you have spent with us, sir. Hope you remembered the session.
Many thanks, and back to thank.
So I hope it was an amazing learning session for each one who is present here. It was a roller coaster of all sorts of things that is there out in plain sight and yet so important. So as we wrap it up, let's remember this. Great marketing is not a formula. It's a feeling. It's the space where strategy meets souls and where brands transform into experiences worth remembering. So thank you each one for joining us. Again, thank you Ambi sir for being us and gracing our dais. And it was a wonderful journey learning more about marketing mixology. May your ideas be bold, your strategies be balanced, and your brands speak forever in a voice that connects and wins heart. So this is Paranazali again, signing off for the session, and we see you around with more sessions at OCLF. Thank you so much.